Okay, so the purpose of this video is to find out once and for all what the best experiences in Pokemon Sun and Moon. Now, I did a video on this recently, but I was getting a lot of comments saying, oh, Guzzlord gives more experience, or oh, there's another method for gaining more experience than the Elite Four, so I wanted to go and try that out. Also, I was a little slow in clearing my Elite Four, so the numbers are going to be a little lower than expected, and there's still a lot of other things that this is good for. Now that the bottle caps are flowing like water in Pokemon Sun and Moon, level 100 is going to be very essential. So what I did was I took my level 75 Lunala and I went through the Elite Four. I also battled some other Pokemon and I went for the numbers and stuff. So Hollow was averaging around 1800 experience per KO, and what I wanted to do was just get the exact timings, and also you do need to have like the perfect Pokemon. That even all level 100 Pokemon might have issues with running out of PP, or they also might not be able to KO every single Pokemon, so that is going to affect the numbers as well, thus making the Elite Four maybe being a little slower than some people might think, but also faster than my original numbers. So the thing is, I started from Pokemon Center, I went and I just mashed A as fast as possible, and I defeated Hala in 3 minutes and 20-ish, 30-ish seconds because of all of the cutscenes. And that's the biggest problem. Like, if the Elite Four had no cutscenes, you could just rush on through it and run through and then become champion and do all that stuff, it would be a lot better for experience. But the cutscenes make up almost half of the time, so it takes about 3.5 minutes to get from one to the next and then beat it all like that. And then there's a further couple minutes of cutscenes, and then after you battle the last person and then you become champion again, there is quite a bit of time that is taken away right there, so it can be estimated to be about 20 minutes for like the fastest possible Elite Four run if you have level 100 Pokemon. And then that's also another concern, is that you will have 5 other Pokemon in your party that are trying to level up as well, and until they hit high levels, they're not going to be able to aid you too much in your Pokemon Elite Four grinding right there. So that means it might take a couple of extra turns to heal up your main sweeping Pokemon as well, or maybe even restore PP on the powerful moves that it has. Either way, I was averaging about 9,000 experience for the Elite Four battles. The champion battles can vary, and it will bump up your rates just a bit. So what I wanted to do was take the Hala battle with my level 75 Lunala as the baseline for 9,100 experience in 3.5 minutes. Well, now it's time to go on to Guzzlord, because if you don't capture Guzzlord and you do not complete the Ultra Beast missions, you can battle it pretty readily, and there's also a couple of methods to improve this. So with Guzzlord, what you want to do is buy a ton of honey. Now, honey is super inexpensive, but it forces a wild Pokemon battle even if you have repels up, so that's going to be something good right there. Also, as a Dark Dragon type, I recommend that you use Dazzling Gleam or a Fairy type Pokemon. Now, Dazzling Gleam is actually pretty easy to get. That during the main story, there's a bridge that Lily runs across. Well, if you actually go back behind the bridge and then go through this little cave right here, you can find the TM for Dazzling Gleam, and you can teach that to many different Pokemon. And even my Lunala, even though it's not stab, still 4 times super effective, is easily enough to KO Guzzlord in 1 hit. So let's go and see how the experience rates look, because after KOing Guzzlord with my level 75 Lunala, I was getting 1,480 experience, so it really just come down to how fast you can go and farm up Guzzlord, and there's going to be some interesting things behind that, because the Guzzlord action is very simple. You mash A until the battle ends, you click X, and then you mash A again, because what I did was I just put honey into my empty slot. So now I can mash A through all my bags, through all my items, get to honey immediately, force the battle, mash A until I knock it out with the first slotted Dazzling Gleam, and then I hit X just to bring up the bag once again. So it doesn't take any motion, like you could just do it with one hand and very little care whatsoever. The Elite Four is a bit more intensive, I would say, so if you're looking for a very brain-dead AFK method, I think this is going to be better. However, the Guzzlord animation just kills it. It has to come out through the wormhole, it has to go and get its beast powers, it has to go and do all these things. It even has like a slow dying animation. So through all that, you can only KO about 3 Guzzlords every 2 minutes, which means about 5 Guzzlord every 3.5 minutes, and that's being a little generous, so that's going to be an issue right there. And then that means 5 times 1480, even rounding it up, 7,500 experience in the same time that it takes to get 9,000 experience in the Elite Four. So cutting the experience rates quite a bit, but again, it is more AFK. However, there's another problem in that you can just get normal wild Pokemon encounters. So because of that, like 4 Guzzlord KOs and then normal Pokemon KO comes just shy of like 3.5 minutes. So the experience rates are kind of the same as long as you're still getting a majority of Guzzlord battles, but getting that off other Pokemon battle isn't the worst thing. It's still not going to be like optimal experience at the same time. So that's something to consider right there, which shows that this method, it's not going to be as good as the Elite Four. So just the Elite Four grind is the way to go. But there is another Pokemon to talk about, because we're also dealing with Beware. So at level 75, my Lunala was also gaining 1480 experience. So actually Beware giving more experience than Guzzlord, because Guzzlord's actually like 1471. I said 1480 because I remembered Beware. Either way, like Guzzlord falls shy of the experience. But then that means, is it worth for the Beware? Because Beware, you can actually encounter that Pokemon and then you do SOS battles. Now, SOS battles can go very quickly, that you can average about 2 KOs and maybe even a little more than 2 KOs per minute. Even with the Pokemon calling for help and then no help showing up, it's just really fast. Like if you get 2 back-to-back turns where Pokemon calls for help, you KO it, and it calls for help that turn, and then you KO the help again, that takes about 40 seconds. So you can even have a couple of dead turns and you're still getting 2 per minute. So that means we're getting 3,000 experience, roughly, per minute, and then 3.5 minutes, that means we're getting over 9,000 experience. That means we're actually getting a little extra. So we're getting 10,000 experience for the low end of a wild Pokemon SOS battle off of the Beware. So maybe this is going to be the best experience, right? That if you're just doing that, you have to pay a little bit more attention. You also have to be shifting from Pokemon to Pokemon. That way it doesn't knock itself out because it runs out of PP and then struggles itself to death. Also, the initial battle does take a little bit of setup. Once you get that setup going, it's pretty back and forth, really quick. You can use Lepa Berries. So as long as you're farming up a lot of Lepa Berries, then it seems like the experience rates of this are going to be better than the Elite Four. Now, you're also going to be getting much less money, that even without Happy Hour and using the Amulet Coin, you're going to get about 350,000, 400,000 Pokédollars per hour on the Elite Four. So you're giving that up for tens of thousands of experience per hour as well. Now remember, with all the experience multiplying methods, that number does add up pretty quickly. So if you don't care about money, you have more money than you know what to do with, or it just doesn't bother you in the game, then this might be the method for grinding. However, Beware is an annoying little Pokemon to have to fight, because it knows Thrash, so it can kill itself in Confusion. It knows Double Edge, so it can kill itself in Recoil. And it knows Hammer Arm. Well, actually, that's not too bad, but it also knows Pain Split. So it'll heal itself up to not be at 1 hit point, or it might get confused from being stuck in the Thrash and then knock itself out, or it'll just KO itself from the Double Edge. So it's really hard to keep this Pokemon in a good, like, health for SOS, and even after Pain Splitting, it'll go around half or even maybe a little above half, depending if you are using an overleveled Pokemon to fight it, so it won't even call for help. And that means the best thing that you need to do is use a Ghost-type Pokemon to fight it. So Beware is already being pretty frustrating right here. And there was a change for SOS battles, that if you have an Intimidate Pokemon, that Pokemon is more likely to call for help. However, there are no Intimidate Ghost-type Pokemon, and that is what we would need more than anything, because Thrash and Double Edge will fail against a Ghost-type Pokemon, which means it can't hurt itself in Confusion. So that's already out of the question. So I was like, alright, False Swipe Pokemon that are Ghost types. That way we can just kind of knock Beware down, keep it at 1 hit points. Even if it tries to like Pain Split us, maybe we can, like, all we can do is stay at a low health as well. So if Beware goes for Pain Split and we're already in like red health or something, we could False Swipe it, bring it back down to 1, it can call for help, and then we also need to use that Pokemon to go and KO the Beware. Now Marowak seems like a fairly decent Pokemon for this. The problem is you can't use Flare Blitz, which is going to be your best Fire-type move, but at least Beware has the Fluffy ability, so you will be dealing double damage with that Fire, so Flame Wheel is kind of your best option. You also do have the Earthquake and stuff, so you can like add some extra damage to it, and then we also have a good TM set, so we can maybe use the Flamethrower as well, just try to hit it with that special damage instead, but that's kind of like what we're looking at. So we would need, optimally, like a level 90, level 100 Pokemon for the Marowak, just to make sure it's always going to be scoring those KOs. So yeah, we would need like a level 90, level 100, level Marowak, because its attack and special attack stats aren't the best, but that's still possible. And then I was thinking, alright, what if that kind of takes care of the Pain Split problem as well, as long as we're just still getting those false swipes in there. Now, if you don't want to worry about the Pain Split, I was also like, okay, what about Ghost Pokemon that get Taunt and False Swipe? Interestingly enough, there isn't. So I was like, you can taunt it, that way it won't Pain Split you, but I think that just having low health with the False Swipe Marowak will be the best way to go. Now also, Aegislash seems like a really good option, that this will be available through the Island Scanner, so Honedge and Aegislash are available in Pokemon Sun and Moon right now. We don't have to wait for transfer, so if you're already getting Pokemon up to level 100, or if you already have a very high level of Aegislash, I recommend False Swipe, Sacred Sword. I think the Iron Head still works. Like, Beware does get fairly tanky because of that Fluffy ability, but if you have like a level 100 Aegislash, it shouldn't matter anyways. So with this method, that means you really only have to worry about swapping out your Bewares every once in a while, and then hopefully, you know, you just False swipe the new Beware a couple times, take out the old one, have it call a new one, and then if you're already at low health, you should have nothing to worry about, because you're a Ghost-type Pokemon, so none of the moves deal damage. The Pain Split is going to be very negligible. Technically, you could still have an Aegislash just at 1 hit points by itself, and as long as you're not getting Pain Splitted by full health Beware, which might cause some issues, you should still be good to go. And a level 100 Aegislash should do a lot of damage, even with the low base power of the False Swipe, so I think that that's what you want to do. You want to get into a Beware battle, you want to make it an SOS battle, and then if you have that high level Aegislash and it's at low health, then you're going to be able to get 10,000 experience every 3.5 minutes, actually every 3 minutes or so. So that is actually going to be the best experience in Pokemon Sun and Moon. Okay, so Beware is just a monster. Look at that. Level 100 Aegislash. It needs to have an Iron Plate, 252 in special attack, and a modest 31 IVs to be able to one-hit KO Beware at level 100 from level 59. That's going to be kind of tricky right there, but that's what it takes. I also wanted to see if Alolan Marowak was going to be capable of any of that, so let's pull up the Alolan Marowak. See, Flare Blitz doesn't even do that, so if we pull up level 100, Brave, sure, Thick Club item, yes, the Thick Club is actually what we're going to be looking for. But we can't run the Flare Blitz. Okay, so it seems like the Alolan Marowak might be better. See, it's just kind of up to preference if you can run all that for the special Aegislash, or if you can Flame Wheel on the Alolan Marowak. So yeah, once you get Alolan Marowak, it actually doesn't have to be as high of a level, so that seems like the way to go. And Beware, though, does it only have Fluffy? I think it actually has, like, access to the other moves. That could be a bit of a problem. Bonemerang. That Bonemerang having the one-hit KO actually... it kind of makes it... No, wait, it doesn't make contact. Never mind. So even with the Fluffy ability, the Bonemerang will still be enough. So there's no gambling right there. Okay, so Bonemerang has an accuracy issue, but I guess that's not, like, the biggest problem in the world. Because you're a Ghost-type Pokemon. You won't be being affected by anything that Beware is throwing at you. So it's pretty much the personal preference. Do you want the level 100 Aegislash, or do you want the level 100 Marowak? Do you want to use Flash Cannon? Do you want to use Bonemerang? Either way, you will find the KOs. I think that's going to be the best way to do it. So if you guys enjoy the video, best experience methods in Pokemon Sun and Moon. I hope you all have a nice day. Thank you very much for watching.